I'll make sure it's muted before I go back to the VPS. Bear with me. How was your guys' night?
So far,
okay.
Good.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Hey, Stanlin.
Hey, how you doing?
Fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing all right. Learning not to watch trades.
Oh, there you go. Okay, guys. So welcome everyone to the SuperEZ kind of training call for Tuesday, October the 8th. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We did well this last week, another great week in terms of the signals group. And this morning, the Euro chef trade we took either should have closed in profit or it dropped some more. I think it dropped a total of 20 some odd pips, but it's pulling back again. It's making a double bottom. So moving beyond that, this is about just being able to kind of go over and create a chart based off of what your guys' eyes see, not what my eyes see, not what DJ's eyes see, but however you see the chart best. So from there, we can kind of create something and create rules based off of what works best for you. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of tonight's call based off of some requests I got via Messenger and via the call this morning. So either way, you guys asked about a few pairs, so let's take a look real quick. I'm going to go to my bread and butter, really messy template, the one that you really would have to be a fool to mess up. As you guys can see, it's a real crowded template. So somebody had asked about what I see on EuroCAD, and everybody right now wants the EuroCAD pairs to buy, and they very well might, okay? As you can see, EuroChef has a double bottom, but the euro was anticipated to drop, and that's just one of those market sentiment things. So let me put EuroCAD on here, bear with me. Let's see. EuroCAD, so the 4-hour chart. Let's skip all the noise. We know we have triple arrows, but we have this nice breakout move. That's a momentum candle. That's an engulfing candle. That's a powerful candle, depending on what terminology you use. I mean, this is a great indication that this is going to start buying. However, we've never retested 50% of this candle. We've never even retested this zone. So like what I'm seeing is we broke the 50, and if we were to retest even close to this, it would be in and around this area, kind of following those 4-hour support. So a legit Stairmaster would probably have to pull back a little bit more. But currently, as you can see, we have a bullish candle. Not a bunch of news to threaten this, but there is some oil news. And with that trucking crisis that we have going on in our country, that oil news is probably going to be very relevant. Again, no guarantees. I'm not an economic expert, but we do know it's going to be relevant to some extent. As you guys can see, the euro is falling, and it's continuing to fall. So double bottom on the daily and a great momentum candle. So long term, do I see this to buy? Yeah, but today, like as in this very moment, let's go down to the 1-hour chart. I'm guessing we have a sell arrow according to our triple arrows. We would have triple arrows for a sell, right? That's what we would currently have. If we drop down to our 30-minute time frame, which most of you who know how I trade, that I don't trade that way. I don't drop around the time frames a whole bunch. I keep my life super simple. It's also saying sell. So if you're waiting to buy this pair specifically, I would wait until you have some other confirmation saying it's ready to buy. So either wait for it to retest that zone that we just discussed on the 4-hour time frame, and it may or may not do that. It may just break out and then you missed part of the move. But if it was me and I was going to take this trade, I'd either wait for it to break down to a little bit lower, okay, in and around this average daily low, which happens to line up with this previous, the sell dots over here. And it also happens to line up with about 50% of this entire move from here to here. About 50% of that is in the middle, so here. So this is the kind of the zone I'd be looking for this to retest before I was looking to buy, or obviously a breakout. A breakout meaning it makes a new high. Because right now we're in this slant pattern, according to Pat. We're in this pullback, and we just don't know when it's going to end. This isn't a super fast mover, but that's what I'm seeing. So I hope that answers your question on EuroCAD. Let's see. USD pairs are going to be a little risky this week because of FOMC. Go to my chat.
Can we look at NU, Jenny?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Thank you.
NZD USD. So again, this is the 4-hour chart. We do have triple arrows. but we also formed an M or a double top formation on the 4-hour chart. So that's kind of a real thing. The overall sentiment on NZD is to start buying. However, that's just what the sentiment is. What this is going to actually do, this isn't a fast mover, so you're not going to risk a whole bunch if you were to take this trade. I mean, that's a small amount compared to how big that move is. A DJ, that was my music, silly butt. Sorry, I was reading the chat too. But either way, this I'm not too comfortable right now putting a whole bunch on USD pairs because of this news right here. The FOMC can move the market quite a lot. Okay, and of course we have the federal chairman nonsense, a lot of political mess coming up. I believe somebody mentioned this morning on that call that so-and-so is going to be, the trade wars with China are going to be decided and some other things are going to be happening. So the US dollar is going to be a bit jolty, just to say the least. So if we're going to analyze this pair news aside, we have triple arrows, our crossover, we broke above the 50, retested the 50. So we'd hope for this to explode, I mean, to the upside. However, we also have wicks to the top side and the double top. We have daily dots saying that this is currently selling. And again, if we drop down to a smaller time frame, let's just go to the 30 instead of 15 is too small, hour is too close. So let's just, for conversational purposes, drop down to the 30. So it's one time frame. This is at least saying buy. I mean, so that's safe on your side, safer. And even if we're wrong and this doesn't turn out to be a breakout, and it's just a pullback, you may be able to get your 30 pips once everything lines up. But we're not going to be checking for everything to line up until we have confirmation, and this isn't kind of confirmed yet. Our momentum is going down, at least for my taste, for how I trade. So for how I trade, I would be waiting on that. And if I go to my trading template, the one that I take 90% of my trades on, if not more, we have our double top, but we have a momentum candle. But now we have another like evening star formation, or I don't know, I'd have to zoom in really close to see if that's a hammer or not. But needless to say, we have something going on here. So we really want it to break out of this zone. We want it to break to the top or to the bottom, but either way, we want it to show us what it means. Because right now our momentum is going down. This is still saying buyers are in control, and USD is in control, whereas NZD is weak. So this is just telling me that it's kind of playing for the moment being, and it's not something that I would want to wager my mortgage on. Like, I wouldn't personally.
Okay, thank you.
It doesn't mean that it's not going to be ready or it can't make a big move. It might. But I'm not going to play heavy with the USD pairs until some of that FOMC stuff is done personally. And then another pair was CAD, JPY, and EJ. So let's take a look. CAD, JPY. So going back to our triple arrows, CAD made some pretty big moves. Oh, sorry, all the JPY pairs made some pretty big moves on Monday. So that was awesome. It made just a beautiful upward move. Now we've got a pullback. We've got triple arrows, but we did end up staying below the 50. Yes, Daniel, we can look at that pair as well. But we have wicks now to the downside. We've got 4-hour support. This is kind of a doji, which I like it in terms of a buy. We're just waiting on enough confirmation to take it. So what I would want to see on this pair on the 4-hour is we want it to break above the 0, okay, or we want kind of a cleaner opening in terms of our ADX with momentum facing back up, okay? Let's take a look. I mean, and you guys are more than welcome to tell me what you see. DJ, GBP is still strong, or is still real weak. Surprisingly, very weak. And even when it bounces up, it only bounces up for a second. So that's what we're seeing here. Are we expecting the JPY pairs to continue to rise? Yes, we are. We are. But right now, JPY did a nice healthy pullback. It got real strong real quick. So it's just, it's all, we'll wait a candle or two and kind of see what happens. But in general, this is a buy. I prefer the 50, but we're going to talk about some different ways to use this. So if we go to, for example, a different template, let's go to the 4-hour chart. And this was just something I was putting together before class. I don't typically trade this way. But if we were going only off of the ADX, daily dots, little arrow, and the money tree string line, we would buy here. And now we're waiting for another confirmation to either take a re-entry or not. So that's what we're kind of looking for right now. I mean, we can click through every single template that we have and to see what we like better. But it doesn't matter. It's just all a matter of how your eyes see it. So CAD, JPY, when we put on the Fibonacci, well, this is auto Fibonacci, mind you. We're at that 23.6, so we'd expect it to now shoot up. I mean, that's how people would be trading right now. Keep in mind, these aren't actual candles though. I prefer to have a more confirmed move. I'll take a later entry, guys, for peace of mind, rather than take an early one just to get in to time the top and time the bottom. So do I see this going up? Yes, I do. Our triple arrows are saying buy. You know, this is saying buy. We're waiting a little bit on some of the other pieces of the puzzle that a lot of us use. That's a different currency strength indicator. Over here. For those of you who use the Ichimoku cloud, same concept. CAD, JPY. On the 4-hour, we had all this saying sell. The blue was on top, right? So just now we're getting this crossover, if you guys can see that. That's called the TK crossover, when the red and blue line cross, but it's not quite where we want it to be. So it's not, everything's not lining up because we want it to be kind of facing up, not down. So that's what I'm seeing on CAD JPY.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one question. On the 4-hour chart, do we have to wait till it crosses the 50, then it's safe? Or
It depends on what kind of trader you want to be.
like
You
on a buy, like if
wait.
we're looking at buy, for example, CAD JPY, if it is it safe when it goes closes above the 50 EMA?
So not my opinion, your safest trade is always going to be when you're on the side of the 50. So you
Yeah.
should only be looking for buys when you're over the 50,
Correct.
only be looking for sells when you're below it. So yeah, it's much safer. Is it late though? Yes, it is. It's later, but it's also safer. So for those of you who have a full-time job or you're busy and you can't be babysitting your trades all the time, that's not a bad setup. That's a very good setup. I mean, you can also choose to take the confirmations off of the 1-hour. So this is CAD JPY. This is my very favorite template. It literally has way more than you need and it's missing nothing. But even on the CAD JPY 1-hour chart, what we're seeing is we still have our little arrow saying sell. We are still below the 50. We have daily dots that say buy, but just no real confirmation yet. Our ADX has momentum coming up, but this is telling us sellers are in control. And the fact that my buyers aren't starting to point up, they're not yet competing with the sellers, then I don't see this as being ready yet. It doesn't mean it can't pop off and get ready real quick, but just at this very moment, it's not. And again, these are both saying sell, and our JPY is stronger than our, here's our CAD. So at this very second, it's not confirmed ready. And you guys don't have to listen to me on that. I want you to learn to have your own sets of confirmations. Like, so some of us traded from structure and patterns, and that's probably the biggest thing to, debate about. But other than that one aspect, if you go back and test this, if you follow some simple rules, you will very rarely be wrong. You might get stopped out in a little bit of profit sometimes, but you'll very rarely hit your stop losses if you follow just a reasonable set of rules. So that's what we're seeing there.
Great. Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. I like it for a buy. I just,
Not now.
I want it to be ready. I want to know that I know. So I want to know I can sleep tonight without being worried.
Got it.
All right, same thing with the USD pairs, guys. Be careful. So for Alex, who asked about GBP USD, I'm super not interested in USD pairs at this very moment. Primarily, if I was interested in one of them, it wouldn't be this one. Just so you know, DJ had asked about GN. There's quite a few of other trades that are better. But again, if we're taking a look at this, even on the 1 hour chart, not necessarily the 4 hour chart, this is telling us we don't have enough confirmations for a buy yet, and we don't have enough confirmations to continue a sell. So at this point, we made a lower low. GBP is way weak, way weak, but it is due a pullback. So we made a lower low from over here, right? Whoopsie, we wanted to break this area, which is really only 15 pips away. So that's what we'd be waiting for, or what I would be waiting for. If it breaks that low, you should be in a safe trade for a sell, at least until the next structure, if it breaks this low. If it doesn't, so if it comes retest and starts to buy, we're just waiting for confirmation on that. What are your thoughts on GN? I wrote down the ones you guys messaged me, and now you're just adding more. Adding more. We'll just stick with the 1 hour. This is the template I used by far the most. Wait for this to load. Okay, I'm here. So DJ, do you have enough confirmations to buy this even on the, I like how this dipped down and did this healthy pullback, but again, we're getting momentum candles to the downside. GBP is way weak. NZD should be gaining strength is what the overall consensus is. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but now we've got some indecision here, kind of. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm in that for a sell right now, Jenny.
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking to buy it. It's not ready. And this one moves so much. Look at the average daily range for those of you who don't know, that you have to know that you know. Even just this much is 80 pips. So if you got half of that, that's 40. I would go for half of that, because then you don't have to be right or wrong, and you're almost guaranteed to close out in profit. Because look, even if it retests this big momentum candle, you got a lot of it, and then it can do whatever it wants. But just make sure you protect it. I like this for the sell. Based on continuation.
Yeah, I had I got about 3 stacks on it right now for the sell. I got in fairly early. I got in actually last week on the 2nd. And I've just been holding it.
You haven't trimmed any of the profits?
No, I haven't trimmed anything. Originally I had 4 positions on there. One of them has got knocked out when they did the pullback. So right now I have 3 positions, but 2 out of 3 positions are past the break-even point. So I'm in drawdown on my latest position about 60 pips.
So you got in somewhere around here, and what, a total of, dang, 300 pips. But then I'm guessing you got back in somewhere like right here, right as it pulled back.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I have a question, and I've kind of been going back and forth about this because, as you know, recently I've been really limited on time. So it's kind of a blessing that I can't look at my charts, because I'm noticing I'm getting more pips out of it with less work, actually. Like you were right about the 4 hour. But today I reached my weekly profit target. I'm going for 500 pips a week, and so I had that, and I was wondering, should I just close out all of my trades right there as soon as I get the 500, or should I just let that run? Because I'm thinking, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, that saying. And since I don't know what the market's going to do, it seemed like it would be smart just to close out all my trades and take it. But at the same time, if everything is telling me it's still going to go down, it seems like it would be also smart just to let them run. So I'm kind of conflicted at this.
Okay, so first off, you're using my weekly compounding sheet, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that means if you were going for 500 pips a week based off of what percentage growth per week, just out of curiosity?
20.
Oh,
no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the per trade. I'm going for 93%.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, then your account has no risk right now. So if you're going off 93% based off of a pretty small account, what's your margin right now?
Let me check. I know it was over 1,000 last time I checked. It is, wow, it is Over 4,000%.
Okay. So right now you're safe. So for example, ready? You said you took 3 entries or 1 entry?
Originally, I took 4 entries, but now I'm down to 3.
Okay. So let's say, and remember, you guys, because I'm a teacher with you guys, I can't even take back anything I say. So a year ago, I was telling you guys that I took 4 trades per entry. And I don't want to teach people to do that because it's a lot to manage. But let's just, for conversational purposes, say we took 2 trades, right? And one of them was set to close at half of your, this is a pretty fast mover. So at half of your, weekly goal or however you're calculating it, depending on what pair, depending on the ADR, you already cashed that out. Now, provided your stop is in profit, you can let that run for, infinity. I mean, literally infinity. If it breaks a new fractal level, you can take another entry. If it pulls back to the 50 and doesn't break it, so that's a beautiful retest, it's a beautiful pullback or Stairmaster, depending on what system and what you want to call it, then you can take another entry. But either way, with the weekly compounding one, especially if you're trading GBP pairs, you only need like 2 trades. But keep in mind, so this week will only equal so many, next week will only equal so many. So it's okay if you take another trade. You don't have to necessarily quit trading for the week, provided you have enough margin. Provided you have enough margin, then you're safe to take another trade, number 1, and you don't have to close that trade out, number 2. It's a really safe way, 12 weeks to, again, let's just say 6 figures. It's not hard, because even if you lose a trade, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's I'm noticing that it has been way less stress compared to the annihilator strategy I was doing primarily.
And you're checking your charts in New York session. You're picking a trade. Well, early New York.
Actually, since I have to be out the door by 7 a.m. every day, I'm actually jumping in on the 5 a.m. candle.
That's perfect. 5 a.m. Eastern, right? Or
yes, 5 a.m. Eastern. And actually, I was talking with my buddy about it, and he was the one who actually really drilled it in my head too. Like the 5 a.m. candle is actually a lot of times better than the 9 a.m. candle, because what we notice is around 11 a.m. the market really does start to die down. At least if you get on the 5 a.m. candle, you got several hours for that thing to move around, and you'll be in profit most likely.
it is. So the 5 a.m. candle it's one of the best candles to trade. Like, he's definitely not wrong. I mean, obviously there's London, but let's see. Oh, actually, you know what? I have a template, I think, with that on there. Delete. Instead of hunting for it. It is one of the best candles, because then you're going to catch the actual move. Watch me not have it now. Yep, I don't have it. I just fibbed. Sorry. Not on this broker. Whatever. But there's that indicator. I think, wasn't it you? Well, you have it, right? The vertical line indicator?
Yes, I do.
Just watch, play with that. It's the best. It's the best. So, yeah, that's awesome. Just finding if you trade, take it, and you can stack it twice. That's awesome. I would continue to trade as per usual, as long as you're not taking more than 4 to 5. And because you're doing the weekly method, some weeks you won't even find a trade, and it's not gonna affect your overall, this took 3 months kind of mentality. It's not gonna affect that. It's not, because as you can see, some of them are gonna run and run. Some of them will double back. Some of them are worth more or less. So it's not going to massively affect you if you take another trade, as long as you watch your margin. So don't get dumb and don't hunt for trades.
Yeah, I'm trying not to have that FOMO mentality, but yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to trade on the 4 hour. And I was just telling my buddy about the other day too. Like, I was in over 200 pips drawdown, but my stop loss is so large now on the 4 hour, like it never really came close to it. So then, it turned around obviously in my favor, and it's easier. You was right the whole time. It's a lot easier on the 4 hour.
Oh, I adore you. Okay, so you said you entered on the second. You were in 200 pips drawdown?
Yeah, so I entered on the second, and it went against me, and then it started dropping.
Oh, because you were stacked, right? That's why you were in 200 pips, right?
Right, yeah. So it doubled
It did
my
not
risk.
go 200 pips against you.
So that basically it made me tighten up my rules once I seen that, because now my rule is I don't put on another position unless my previous position is past break even, my stop loss.
Oh, there you go. And you use the confirmations like that. You use those 8 and 18 candles and then the RSI, right? And the 50.
Yeah, I use all. Well, actually, I switched to the 35 EMA. I did. I saw somebody in the chat, the Telegram post that, and I tested it out, and I just like the way it works better on the 4-hour, because I like how you use the 1 hour crossing the 50 EMA for trend direction, and if you use the 35 EMA on the 4-hour, it's closer to that 1 hour break of the 50 EMA. If that's making any sense.
Yeah, I use mine as the 33. So, because I like my
Okay.
numbers. So on the 4 hour, like the 33 is awesome. So Pat
Okay.
used the 35, and I think he taught that in his original videos. And I believe Sean, or what was his name? I know what you're talking about though. He uses the 35, and then he uses the 30-minute and the 4-hour. So, but that's awesome. And then I know kind of your setup, so keep it up.
Will do. Thank you for the help.
You are welcome. Thank you. All right, guys. Hey, I wanted to kind of go over some different ways to set up some charts, if you guys don't mind. So, does anybody have any major questions of a pair you really, really want to look at? Like super important that we can't miss it. I'm pulling up EJ real quick. Tammy. Right now, these aren't actual candles, so let's go to a different chart. I'm trying to like some of the other candles, guys. I keep playing with them, but I don't love them. I mean, Heiken Ashi candles are great for like learning how to stay in a trade. Maybe for low stress trading on the day chart, but other than those two purposes, I can't even justify using Heiken Ashi candles. Like they look pretty, but they just aren't massively valuable. So, Tammy, can you talk? Maybe. Okay. Well, on the EGA, for those of you who asked, here's what we're seeing. We broke through the 50. We are now retesting. If we do complete this double bottom and this pushes back up, this will be a strong buy in which we can expect to get a lot of pips out of. But for now, we're still overall in seller's territory. So it's a little hard to see on our MACD, but we came to our zero line, we retested, now we're dropping. This is still saying sell, okay? This is saying, whatever, our dark green line is JPY, our light green line is JPY, our turquoise blue is euro. So JPY is stronger, euro is weaker. We really want to see just this fully confirmed. And right now it's not. And even if we go to a different template, just to kind of, for conversation purposes, this is the 4-hour chart, this is the 1 hour. Oh, there, I knew I had it on one of my templates. This is that indicator we're talking about. But either way, like right now we don't have enough confirmations to know of what this is going to do. So once price closes on top of our 8 and it stays there, once price makes a decision on any of these templates, pick your template, pick whichever one I see best. Then we have something to work with. Right now we're staying below the 8 and 18, below the 50. Yes, we have daily dots for an early entry that has low risk. I mean, you can trade that way, but I don't trade that way. So risk it all with a 15 pip stop loss. Okay, well, maybe 17 pip just to kind of cover that whole zone for the hope that it comes up, and it very well might. That's not a bad risk to reward ratio, but I personally don't trade that way. So does that answer your question? All right, guys, do we have any volunteers? Okay, I don't want to look at any more pairs for tonight. I'm trying to make these classes work.
Yeah.
Hey, Tammy, how are you? Oh, she's got to go. Hey, Nina. Nina, you've got some background noise, just so you know.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know.
I muted you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute you. All right, cool. So you guys are muted. So I don't want to look at any more pairs tonight. What I really like to do is be able to help you guys establish. Thanks, Greg. I would love you guys to talk, just so you know, because I talk a lot and it's not as fun as I thought it would be to talk to yourself all the time. Like, I'd much rather hear from you, kind of collaborate with you. So yeah, go ahead and laugh at me. Anyways, so guys, what I really like to do is have somebody who maybe hasn't stepped up before. If you guys can step up, let's talk about how you would build a template or some different ways you can use some of the tools we have to create a system that your eyes see and works for you. So one of the things that I was kind of very quickly building out today was, you guys know my very basic template that I'm gonna have to find it now. It's none of these, huh? Kind of comparable to this, 8 and 18 crossover, break of the 50, little arrow, daily dots, ADX and MACD. Super simple, super accurate, and I mean, it's easy. There's not a lot of mess on here. There's not a lot of repainting. There's not a lot of worries whatsoever. So in all of our minds, that's a lot to work with. That's exactly what we're wanting and hoping for in our system. Oh, for those who wanted to go over CHF, I still see this as a buy. So it pulled back like we said it was going to. I just deleted those lines. I'm sorry, that was by habit. But it did exactly what we wanted it to do. So it broke above the line that we drew. It retested the same line that we had drawn, and now it was going up. So that's what we're seeing in terms of continuing, just so you guys know. But okay, back to what I was saying. Here's the deal. This has a lot of confirmations. This is very simply the 8 and 18, the 50, little arrow, no big arrow, no yellow arrow, and daily dots. So what if we only use this template for confirmations? If anybody else wants to count, if anybody else wants to participate, I mean, please let me know. It'd be a lot more fun. But otherwise, I'll just keep talking until somebody says something. Going back through your charts. So don't listen to me, okay? Don't listen to your guy next door. Don't listen to anybody at all. But start making your own decisions. Start taking your own accountability. We already know, obviously, how many would win. Go back, pick 5 random pairs, or have your child or your wife or your husband randomly pick 5 pairs to where you have no say over which ones. Go back, at least 5 months and find out how many times this would have got you 50 pips. Find out how many times this would have, hit the average daily range. 50 pips if you're using the 4 hour, 20 pips if you're using the 1 hour. Find out how often this would win. And once you do that, you're going to be able to create and load out your own template based off of the plethora of tools we have. We have a lot. We have the big arrow, we have little arrow, we have whatever. So just for conversation purposes, using this one, for example, if we got to the chart and we saw it right here, just kind of dragging and dropping, not a lot to say. If we came and checked this, we'd be able to say, okay, we have a daily dot, we have a little arrow saying sell, we're below the 50, most recent 8 and 18 crosses here. So that's 1, 2, below 50 is 3, 8 and 18 is 4. Our sellers are in control, and our momentum is above the 25, at least at the second I dropped it. At least we wouldn't have known what happened after, but just for conversational purposes. And again, we had a crossover and we were below the 0 line. So is this a good thing? Okay. Could we take this for a sell? Anybody at all? See. Somebody's going to have to chat. Someone's going to have to talk. Thank you, Greg. Like, seriously, guys. I mean, this would work. No matter how we look at it, this works. And we can pick 500 different ways to set this up. And as long as you understand and create rules that are consistent, what you're going to see is, John said, in hindsight, yes. Okay, but this stuff doesn't repaint. So what do you mean in hindsight? You're my best student. Can you talk? You're the perfect student. Come talk to me, Mr. Hindsight. Repaint. Greg, that means certain indicators disappear and then will reappear on your charts. These ones don't repaint. The daily dot can, but nothing else on here repaints. This isn't going to repaint. This isn't going to move. So once this prints right here, it's not going to adjust later. So provided that candle is closed wherever this line was at, What you see is what you get. The only thing that's on this chart layout are the daily dots that repaint. Everything else, so once this candle, for example, closes right here, everything you see that happened on that candle is going to stay where it was at. None of it repaints. The only thing on the screen that does repaint are the daily dots. And they don't repaint often. So, but for the gentleman who said in hindsight, you're the perfect candidate if you're willing to talk. You're the perfect example, and you might learn from it more than anybody. So again, similar concept, just for conversational purposes. If the time you looked at the chart, depending on when you see the chart, and that's what that vertical line indicator is great for, this is what you saw. You have a crossover of your MACD, I count that as one confirmation. A break of the 0, I count that as 2. Your, let's zoom in just to be sure. Your,
Jenny, I have a question for you.
yes, sir. Who's this?
This is Corey. How you doing?
Wonderful. And yourself?
All right. Now you still using the same regular moving averages as you usually use, right?
Yeah, this is just the 8, the 18, and the 50, and these are all EMA.
Okay.
The only other ones I ever really used were the 33. I've played with the 200 and the 800 a little bit. That's mostly only on the 15-minute time frame. I use the 4 and the 50 quite a bit, just like the 8 and the 50. I use it the same way.
You ever tried the 50 and the 20?
Yeah, but that's real late.
Yeah, got a lot of lag.
I don't hate it, but I mean, if I were to do it, because that's a market maker strategy. So that's because it's a market maker strategy. It's also where the most play happens. So if I wanted to do something along those lines, this pink line right here is the, oh, sorry, that's the magic mouse. This pink line is the 18, so we could count that every time we see the 18 cross the 50. So this wouldn't count. It takes out a lot of noise. I'm not going to fib. It definitely takes out a lot of noise, which is fantastic.
Okay. So it does work good on the 1 and the 4 hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so DJ was just saying for the 1 hour, for the 4 hour, he would use something like the 35, or in my case, the 33. For the 1 hour, the 50 is better, which I do actually agree with him. Trying to call trades for the group. I love the 4 hour and how safe it is, but most of my trades are meant to be held. And when you're trying to call something that's going to go into profit immediately, within reason, within the best of your control, that 1 hour using the 50, I think is best. And the 33 on the 4 hour is real good too. I mean, my ultimate is still always going to be the 4 hour. It's always going to be the 50. It's always going to be the 4 hour.
Okay. I'm just trying to find something to stick with. I've been jumping around and it's not working. I need to stick to one thing and one thing only, you know?
Oh, and that's what we're kind of here for. So, what's your favorite indicator?
I like the MACD, and then also I like the using the moving averages too.
Okay, so what's your favorite moving averages?
The ones you've been using, the 8 and 18, it's been working for me on that part.
Okay, on the 4 hour?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So what's your accuracy ratio?
I haven't got to that point yet because I've been jumping around a little bit. I've been trying to write it down every so often, but it's been up and down. It's not steady. So I just have to stick with one thing and one thing only, you know.
Okay, so what if you stuck with only this? So only this. Here, we'll even drop down to the hour.
Say that again.
So this blue line is when I would typically, I will always be in front of my charts at least for a few minutes during that blue line, so I know what I'm looking at, so I know what I'm seeing in hindsight, right? What if you only use these rules: MACD, ADX, little arrow, 8 and 18, 50? What if you only use those?
Okay.
Do you know what your accuracy would be?
Not really. I don't know how much it will be. Have you studied it though? I mean, I'm pretty sure you have, but
Yeah, I have. But the thing is most of trading is psychological. Most of trading is being able to manage your trade. So yeah, in theory, yes, I'm going to use John's word there, hindsight. He's not wrong, because we've all realized that is when we back test, man, we're all millionaires. When we back test, we're like, I became a millionaire, I became a billionaire.
yeah,
Well, this was a great one. I got this one. But a lot of times when we're trading, this is kind of what happens. I was excited I got in. I was scared I got out. And then I got back in. I got a little bit of money, but then it started to go against me. I got out. And then I thought it was going to sell, so I got in, but then I thought it might buy again, so I got out. And I
yep,
got in, and I got out, and I got in, and I got out, and I got up. Well, I blew an account. Okay. So I got in, and I can do this all day long. That's kind of what we end up doing.
okay,
Like, it's a beautiful story. Like Pat says, sometimes lines up tell a story. You're just wanting everything to line up. We only follow this right here and nothing else, as in nothing else at all. It must have a crossover through MACD. It must cross your zero line. It must have an arrow, the little arrow in the same direction. It must break the 50. It must have a crossover of your 8 and 18 before you're willing to buy it, no matter what.
You know what? I'm gonna start doing that. I'm glad you told me that.
If you do that, like, you'll find 5 to 10 trades depending on how often you're trading, and you'll win at least 7 to 8.
Okay.
Serious.
Hey, Jenny, down there.
I'll put that in my rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Hey, Jenny, down.
If you've got a TV on, please stop talking. Analia, you've got a TV on, so please don't unmute yourself until you don't. It's just a lot of background noise because it's a live call. That's all. I would love to answer your question.
Jenny, Stanley.
Hey, Stanley, how's it going?
Good, good. I'd like to stay on the same chart and look at the pullbacks.
On this chart?
Actually, the any chart, Chef JPY any chart. If we can just look at pullbacks. And discuss those for a minute.
Okay, so this is the triple arrow setup. Let's see. Okay, so we're on the, yeah.
I see a pullback go further up. No, ahead, up to the top where the fractal is. No, go to the other direction. To the right. All the way to the right, to the end. Yes. That's a pullback with the bearish candles, correct?
Yes.
And this is the which time chart this is? Oh, 4 hour. Right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so in order to know when to get back in from the pullbacks, for example, would you go down to the 15-minute chart?
For what? For triple arrows?
To time the entry on the pullback.
I don't go back to the 15-minute chart ever.
At all?
No.
Okay.
It's just not to say it's bad and not to say it's wrong. There are people who do that and they have a lot of success, okay? But for me and my sanity, I don't do that.
Okay.
That gets to me, and I just get more. I spend more time away from my family, more time on the charts, and I made less money. I made less money trying to time the perfect entry than I did just trusting my trade. So again, when I first posted this in the Signals group, I don't know exactly how many pips it went in total. But either way, so I know for sure we're up like 30 pips here, give or take. So I don't want to be wrong or be inaccurate. So here's the deal. when we see something like this, we say, okay, we have confirmations. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 97 confirmations, right?
Yes.
And we're excited. So let's say we got in here. Let's use a bad scenario, not a great scenario, because it's honest. So we took an entry here because everything lined up, and that's what time we were looking at the charts in that morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
That actually might have been Thursday morning. This went against us a total of 48 pips. That's a lot for most people, especially when you're trading 20%. But then it went in your favor by 50 pips, okay?
Yes.
So this is all part of trading. So are you ever going to know when this is happening? No. You have a lot of ways to tell. You have your 4-hour dots. That's one good way. So we currently have 4-hour buy dots. That's a really good way to say this is now, you're ready to buy. As a continuation, as a Stairmaster is what Pat calls it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a fractal to the downside. That's perfect, right? So we're getting enough confirmations, but not everything else is lining up yet. But that's the difference in terms of how people trade. If you're trading pullbacks, you're less concerned with this and more concerned with this. So
yes, I entered on. I waited for the pullback before entering the buy. So and then it pulled back another candle, which was fine. But that's what I'm trying to do. To wait for the pullbacks, then to enter into the direction of the trend. So if it's a buy and it's already on its way, right? I'm waiting for the pullback. So then I'm looking for that pullback candle and waiting to time it to get in probably, hopefully, well, it doesn't work out that way, but so that it doesn't go against me too much, hopefully. I got in on the first pullback candle at the top, about I'm on the 4-hour chart. I got in on the first pullback candle, and then it went down on the other candle. So this is just me practicing, trying to figure out how to get in a pretty good, a spot where I don't have too much of a drawdown.
So I asked one of my clients this last week. They were talking about how they want to be a master trader. They want to be a master trader. They want to have, tight stop losses and 100 pips gains. And that's what they want. And they know other people can do it. So why can't they do it? Right. Mm-hmm. And they were very passionate about this topic. And I get it. I super get it, because that was me for a very long time. I was originally with IML. Several of the traders taught these 7 pip stop losses and 7 pip, 2 pip take profits, 25 pip stop losses, like some stuff. And some of it's good. I'm not going to fib. Some of it works like decently well. But here's the thing. Brokers, when they sneeze more than 10 pips. They huff and puff, by opening and closing of business, that they do more than 10 pips. So for you who's like super seeking that tight entry, I get the concept, and YouTube is smutted up with it, and trainers and businesses, everyone in the world is so interested in, how do I time the pullback? How do I time the pullback? How do I know, right? But my ultimate answer to that is you don't know. Quit trying to act like we're gonna know, because we're never gonna know. Like, all the indicators in the world, all the charting in the world is never gonna help us know. We have to either trust our analysis and be willing to take the risk. Our risk to reward, is it good or it's not? I mean, that's my first answer to that. There's no way to know. But obviously you have some things like on naked charting. Okay, the simple concept again of drawing a line.
Yes.
Watch this. This is a pullback, and this is really poorly done. This is on MT4. It's not pretty. So when price breaks above this pullback line, so this is a flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going up. This is a flag. When price breaks above that, you can buy again. But price has to break above it.
Got it. Gotcha.
I mean, that's a really good way. So that trend line break, whether you're trading reversals or whether you're trading continuations, breaking a trend line is a great way to do it. That's a faster entry. But for those of you who are using indicators, you know the direction. You're just waiting for your oscillators to tell you the same thing. You're waiting for your indicators to tell you the same thing. So there's many, many ways to do it. You've got your 4-hour dots if that's all you're using. I mean, that's a possibility. 4-hour and MACD are saying go.
Okay.
Does that answer your question though?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, fair enough.
It does. I mean, I read a lot of stuff saying just what you explained, to wait for it to break back above. Yes. Okay.
I mean, that's probably the safest way. But again, odds are you're going to be ahead and not necessarily be right, because it could pull back, bounce around, and then drop. It could
Yes.
double drop. I mean, so we all like to say, I told you last week, I know, I said, I did, I'm this. I'm human. I like to say that too. Don't get me wrong. But the reality is we know nothing. We're technical traders. We go off of technicalities on a chart. We either draw lines and have support and resistance, or we use indicators. And that's what technical traders do. So using our technical trade analysis, I'm looking for confirmations. So for a re-entry, I mean, you have your 4-hour dots. I'm pretty confident. I personally see a chip as strong. Remember, JPY did a nice pullback. Our oscillators aren't telling us it's ready, but I'm pretty confident in the trade, having done a lot of analysis on it. But that's where I'm standing. So again, when it was originally called out, we were looking to get at least 50 pips, and up to about 220 with a probability somewhere around 120. Let's measure this real quick. So worst case scenario, let's go off of the case that we're wrong for conversational purposes. Let's say we're wrong. Is it worth getting 50 pips out of it? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's definitely worth it.
Okay.
But either way, I hope that helps. Like, that's kind of what I'm seeing in terms of that.
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right. Does anybody have any specific settings that they like to use in terms of this? What I wanted to show you was something along these lines. I'm going to remove these EMAs and delete the 18. I'm going to even delete my 8, and I love my 8. I love my 8. Delete it. So as of right now, we have literally 4 things on this chart, 5 including candles. What if this is all we traded with? That's it. Nothing else. Nothing. So to find a trade, what we would need to have is daily dots in the same direction. Little arrow, money tree string line needs to say sell. And our ADX 9 needs to say sell with momentum above the 25, bare minimum. What if we only took trades that followed those rules? On the 4-hour or 1 hour, going for 50 pips if you're using the 4, going for 20 if you're using the 1. Do you know what your accuracy ratios would be? Just with this alone? And bear in mind, since you're not waiting for it to break a 50 or a 33, your stop losses would be small. Any guesses on what your accuracy ratio would be?
I don't know.
70-80%, Jen.
Hey, Ian, I recognize your voice.
Hey. What was that?
The money tree string line, little arrow, ADX, okay? Just with those confirmations, you're looking at anywhere from, obviously execution plays a role, but 80 to 87% accurate.
Wow.
Just using that?
Just this. Nothing else. But the thing is, so yeah, a lot of you guys guessed really close to it's in that window. Okay, the thing is, execution is everything. So if you can't follow basic rules, you're never going to get to the next level of trading, and that's all this is. So don't listen to me. And I would really hope that any of you have the tenacity to do that maybe this weekend, or get your butts to the gym and then take the Sunday sitting on your butt, to obviously rest up. But seriously, do nothing but look at this setup, just this setup. Have somebody else you don't know pick a couple of pairs, hopefully not too correlated. Pick a couple of pairs, back test this on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, never going for more than 50 on the 4 hour, never going for more than 20 on the 1 hour. And that's only for consistent testing purposes. You need to have something tangible to test, because if you don't, then we don't know. You know, you can either use that or you can create an algorithm like, God, what's his name? Somebody did a whole set of rules based off of the ADR. Phenomenally done, like beautifully done. But for something consistent to test, try it. Just this, nothing else. You guys will be amazed at how accurate that is. And then what it comes down to after that is managing it. Is always managing it. Always, always, always managing it. And something similar here. So this is my 8. I don't like letting go of my 8. This is the 33. Going to the 4 hour real fast. As you guys know, I don't love the Trump candles. I really don't. Primarily because I don't know enough about them to know how they work, even to give them a fair, honest to God chance. However, from a similar concept, a trending based candle, whatever ones you like, if it's Heiken Ashi, if it's the EMA crossover ones that DJ had shared with the SuperEZ group, SuperEZ 6-figure challenge, no matter which one it is, here's the deal. If you follow just these rules, so this is your auto trend forecaster, this is your MACD, this is the one that I shared with the group, this is the ADX on not my settings, actually it should be on my settings. Sorry, again, I was building this layout and I wanted to show you guys. And I would ask any of you to prove me wrong. Okay, so this one has the 33. I prefer it better than the 35, mostly because I like my weird numbers. And it's slightly faster than the 35, but not as small as the 30. So works for me. Same concept. You're only taking trades that once price breaks, I would use the 8 because this is a trend-based candle. So wait until the 8 crosses the 33 on the 4 hour. And go back in time and test this. It's going to miss all these false out moves. Okay, this is awful. This isn't fun, in all fairness, but this hasn't finished playing out yet, so we don't know what it's going to do. But don't listen to me. Rather go back in time and test this. If you could have got safe 50 pips, okay, let's see, from this chart when that's happened, you will take, especially using something like this where you're waiting for the EMA to cross, you will definitely have a couple of moments or losses. But if you're only following rules, you're not going to have many. Not at all. And so this right here, you'd have to have barely caught that one candle, which is possible. But again, same concept, go back in time and test this. Only this. Whatever trend-based candle you like. If I had to pick one today, I'd probably pick the Heiken Ashi candles over any of these other weird candles, because at least I can justify how those work. My God, Q is Trump only for simplicity. Yeah, I can't stand these candles. I don't know how they're programmed. I have no idea. I don't know how they're programmed, so I can't love them. For the gentleman asking about ADX, average directional movement index is under your regular MT4 tools. Okay, it should be under trend, and it's under your oscillators if you're on your if you're on the side view. So I have it set at 10, set to close. I have my positive DI number, color is green like my buy. My negative DI is purple like my sell. And then momentum is white. The most important level that you really can't live without is 25. Because you really need momentum to be above 25 before you consider anything. If momentum is not above 25, you're not touching it yet. If you follow just those very simple rules, you'll be surprised at how often this template alone will work. Period. Like no question, no maybe, baby. This will work. You're going to get caught in times like this. If that's going to happen, there's no beautiful story around that. I'm going off of the worst case scenario. Hold on. So if you entered extremely late and you just took it to the tip, you still got 20 pips, and that's on the 4 hour. Not great, but either way, that's what this is. This one's an ugly move. Test this one theory. And this is Trump candle, so I don't even know how accurate that is. Test this one. Anyone want to be in charge of testing this template? I'll even let you help me name it with me, as long as you give appropriate credit to who helped you create it. That's all. I'll let you help me pick a name as long as you say, hey, look, we created this together. You know, it's all this stuff. Everyone wants to claim it and own it, but it's not mine. It's not DJ's. It's not the guy next door's. This is not, you know, copyright, intellectual property. This is shared information. This is something we can all potentially use to change our lives in so many more ways than words can ever express. So I just wanted to show you guys a few things. For those of you who know or on the six-figure income challenge, you got to see some other cool tools. Some really cool tools such as this one. It's pretty awesome, great. But one thing we pointed out was, what if we only used the big arrow, the 8 and the 50? And you only took the trades that matched up with that. That's it. You ignored everything else. Everything else. Do you know how often you'll be right? That one's very, very high. Very, very high. Big arrow, break of the 50. And even if we assume the big arrow was here, we never broke the 50. And we kind of tested this in that class too. It's all super simple. Very easy, very doable, and not hard at all. You'd be surprised. So you guys can set your alerts up on that dashboard for those of you who have it to get only 1 hour alerts. Only take the ones that match up, and you will be amazed at what your accuracy is. So.
Hey Jenny, can you still do the same with the first chart that you showed with the Trump candles? Not Trump candles, but the other candles you had with the money, was it money tree string?
These are just regular candles.
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, can you rephrase your question? Maybe I don't understand.
Can we use the same method on what you was just talking about with this?
So like only take these trades?
Right, just for the 4 hour.
Oh yeah. You could take this on anything, guys. Most strategies work on any time frame. Your accuracy goes down a few percent with every time frame. So that's problematic. However, your stop loss gets tightened up and your stress level goes up. So there's variables that make it worthwhile. The difference is if you're trading this template from a smaller time frame, you want your take profit to be conducive of the time frame. So technically, can one of those trades run you 100, 200 pips? Yes. But should you be going for 100, 200 pips for any sense of accuracy or normalcy? No. You should have a consistent testable system you can work with. So you can do this on the 4 hour, you can do this on the 1 hour. Either way, that's totally fine. It's very, very fine. So
Okay, I'll try this one.
okay, to do so, and then come back to me. So
Okay,
like we're gonna hold you to it. You just said that on a recorded call. So the whole team, just like me, now you're stuck like Chuck.
Okay, I'll try this one right here.
Okay, so that means you need the ADX, little arrow, money tree string, and daily dot.
Okay, I got all of it already.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You can pick one thing to add if you want. You can keep it this simple if you want. This will work when you follow the rules.
That's right, because I only take a trade only when a candle closes. If I'm taking a sell, it needs to close below the money tree string, correct?
Yeah, but this also is this is a whole moving average. It's covered essentially.
Right, and it has to be red. So if I'm taking a sell, if I have mine red and green, basically if I'm taking a sell, the money tree string red, and also the candle needs to be under the money tree string. And I need to have my daily dots up there, and I need to have a red arrow pointing down.
Yeah, your little arrow. That's correct.
Well, yeah, little arrow.
What else you need is you need a wide crossover. So some people call that like the shark mouth, that super wide mouth, if you could imagine.
Okay.
Some teeth and some teeth. You want a wide crossover of your buyers and sellers on the ADX, and you need momentum to be facing up and above the 25.
Okay, so my minimum needs to be above the 25. So what about the 40? Does it need to be at the?
When if the price, so here, oh, silly me.
You see what I'm saying? The momentum doesn't need to be at the 40.
No, that's just a really
Okay.
high volume trade.
Okay.
That's a, you have a lot of momentum. It's a lot of volume is dumping into the market. So that's really, really good. But notice this is crossing the 40 right when the buyers are saying they're in control. And what happens? So we kind of peak out with the buyers. We now stay up above the 40 momentum wise. And then we have this perfectly crisp sell. I mean, right there. It's like if we had checked the chart here, okay, and we weren't following the daily dot rule,
Right.
we'd be looking for a buy.
That was exactly what I'm gonna ask.
Right.
Yes.
Do you need a currency relative strength indicator with this? So I can just take that off my chart, because I'm just trying to learn a different way of trading. So I have my own, but I'm just trying to figure out another way I can look at stuff.
Hey, DQ, oh, I'm sorry. DJ said the MACDX is easier to read than the ADX, and it's just as accurate. So what color of string should that be? Our indicator. DJ, can you send me a picture of your MACDX? Didn't you already show me that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
The only problem with some of these really cool, pretty please if you would, cool indicators is a lot of them repaint. A lot of them are made. So this is something that's on every MT4, it's on every phone, it's on every trading view. This is not owned by Jenny. No one created this. I would probably add the MACD personally. And the reason why is because it keeps us out of, let's see. So for this strategy, let's do this. If it will let me. Market indicators. Sorry, bear with me. Let me go to We the People. I created a folder called We the People because this is all stuff that I can share and is not trademarked, or it's not like coded, and it's just for us, by us.
Love that. Yeah, congratulations.
Awesome. Okay, so this is MACD true. I'm gonna keep the, no, I gotta stay true to form. So let's make this good colors. Okay. Here's what I would want to see. Like if I were to add anything, but I don't want this to be about me. And that's kind of the thing, is I don't want this to be mine only. Okay. I want this to be something that like you guys see, that you guys can feel as you're growing. I wish we could go back to that same trade, but we all know that my magic mouse. So here we go. Small favors. So in and around here. If we saw right here without the daily dot, again, doing within the best of our ability, within the best of our human, okay, if we're being honest, ability, if we saw right here, a lot of us would say that the green line is above the purple for the MACD. This is buy, this is buy. We now have a yellow arrow, probably going to break through those dots anyways. This is saying buy, this is saying buy, right? So this would get us in trouble without those daily dots. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the daily dots, they kind of repaint, isn't it? So
They
should
do?
we trust that?
No, we shouldn't trust it. There's
How
no,
many daily dots should we trust to to make a really confident support or resistance level? You have a number or something like that?
I did have a number actually until that number no longer worked. So for a while I was using, well, I'm being real with you guys. So like for a while I was saying, okay, once you have 4 dots and it's the beginning of New York, that's not one daily candle closed, but it was enough.
Okay.
That's not accurate. So they can even repaint on the daily chart. So since they can even repaint on a daily chart, that means you can have 24 daily dots on the 4 hour. You can have 50, 60 daily dots on the 1 hour, so that's as real as we can be. There's no perfect solution. But because this,
Because
go ahead.
no, sorry. I can see that you only use the daily dots as a support and resistance. You don't use 4 hours or 1 hour daily dots. So excuse me, and support and resistance dots. So you only be confident about the daily dots, or they use another kind of support and resistance levels to try to adjust your trade?
Just my daily dots. I don't prefer the way the other ones adjust. I mean, for the template, the Stairmaster template, I get it. And I do better at the Stairmaster than I do enter on the original trades. But again, I would take the Stairmaster based off of these daily dots, not all this. So these daily dots in the same direction as the triple arrows, that's golden. Like, that's phenomenal. That's what we want to see.
When they match each other, are you meaning that?
Yeah, preferably. But this is still a valid trade. I mean, provided everything lines up, and I'm assuming it did somewhere in here, this is still a valid trade. So I would prefer the daily dots to give me my Stairmaster. If I had my choice, this is all a sell. That's a sell. I'd want to sell here. I'd want to sell here. I'd want to sell here. I'd want to sell here.
Jenny, sometimes for me, myself, and talking about myself as a newbie, well, not a newbie, but as a 2-year trading, sometimes I get a lot of confusing indicators, a lot of indicators. Sometimes I just see myself testing a lot of indicators. And if you have just one chart to trade for the rest of your life, just one, to stick with it and trust your system, trust your life and your profits, which chart would you trade? Which indicators would you pick up?
And you want it to be a simple one?
The simplest, the better.
It'd be like this.
This one.
Well, I mean, so excuse that. I'm gonna go to the 4 hours so those vertical lines disappear. This one only has the little arrow.
Little arrow.
Daily dot.
ADX, MACD, daily dots, 50 MA.
50. That's it. Like, this is my ultimate favorite. This is everything. You can trade it, fast, or you can trade it slow. It's really up to you. It's really a beautiful, simple system. I mean, very, very simple. It's not hard at all.
Yeah, I'm asking that because sometimes we get just absolutely confused because there's thousands and thousands of indicators that promising a lot of different situations, and we just want 3 or 5 indicators that just lead us to a really nice trend, a really nice points of getting in and getting out. So sometimes we get a little confused about that. So trying to get experience about you and all of your trading experience, which indicators you would indicate for us, the best for us to use, or not the Fibonacci because it's a little bit advanced. So daily dots, EMAs, ADX, for instance. ADX, I love ADX. I just found ADX watching your videos. They're just fantastic. They just absolutely capture the trend. So it's absolutely easy for us to understand that. That's my question, because sometimes we just get absolutely drowned about thousands and thousands indicators.
I respect that and I understand what you're saying. So first, to respond to what you said about the Fibonacci, Fibonacci is pretty easy. So if we look at this big move, when we say, hey, it's going to retest half, that's easy to eyeball. The reason why I don't recommend this tool, and I don't like it being recommended, like if it was my choice, is because in hindsight, it's all accurate. This adjusts. So if you watch my chart,
Exactly.
which means those aren't valid ratios. So give this a second to load. This right here can't be the 50. Hold on. So this is the 50. If this will give it to me, come on, baby. Nita. Oh my gosh, we found this Nora person, guys. I found him. I muted
He
him.
strikes back.
Well, hey, look, I'm not being mean,
We
guys.
shut him up.
Yeah. Some of us stay up real late to try to catch these. We're in different countries, so I'll be loving and kind. Okay, so this can't be the 50 if this is also the 50.
Yeah.
It can be in theory, but like I said, everything's in theory, and that means nothing is real. So let's make it real small. Sorry for the haphazard movement. And because it moves, it makes it not valid. So this is the 50 here. The difference in that is just for conversational purposes, it's enormous. I mean, that's the world of a difference. This is the 50 and this is the 50. That's a 400 pip gap.
Exactly.
So just so you guys are on the same page as to why I don't discuss that, I can eyeball this move and say, half of that. I don't do the rounded, the perfect examples. But anyways, back to answering and to honoring what you said. Here's the deal. Have you ever stuck with any one thing for 2 weeks or 4 weeks? Like anything? And I'm not going to judge you or insult you. Have you yet to pick anything for 2 to 4 weeks, even one time?
Well, actually, I the last long trade that I ever take was like 2.5 weeks, but it was like for drawdown for 100 pips and just write down for 200 pips in profits, and the end of the way I just won 50 pips. That was my longest trade, and it wasn't my profitable trade. That's what I'm asking. And well, but sometimes it happens. That's trading. That's no problem. I just deal with that with absolutely patience and everything that my mindset ruled me to. But sometimes I just get drawn about all of these indicators. Sometimes something that's not so cluttered in my mind and in my charts, for me, sometimes seems a little bit more simplest to trade. That's what I'm asking you.
Okay. So, but that doesn't answer my question.
I'm sorry.
Have you ever stuck with one thing for even 2 weeks? Just done one thing for 2 whole weeks?
Sorry. Do you mean by some kind of strategy or something like that? Isn't it? Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I did. I just trying to figure out my 4-hour trades, trying to stick with a 1-hour entry and a 4-hour trend, and it is profitable. It is profitable, but I don't feel myself comfortable enough to just stick with this trade, to let it roll for as a trading career, sticking to that plan. Sometimes I think that some kind of news are gonna ruin my strategy, or some kind of new indicator could just say that I'm wrong. I'm not that really comfortable about that.
Okay. But news doesn't always go against us. Okay. News can't always go against us. a lot of times that big push we see when we back test,
Mhm.
like so that breakout move was news. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes when this big thing happens, that was news, and now we're gonna follow trend.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
like we can't get so tied up that we're terrified of news. We just have to protect our
Yes.
trade or protect our profit. So,
Mhm.
but either way, at the end of the day, the question still remains: was have you followed the same set of rules consistently for finding, let's just say, 50 trades, following one set of
Well,
rules?
50, no, 50, no, 50. Not 50 trades because I'm not a scalper or something like that. No, no,
20
not
trades?
50 trades. 20, I have to check it out, but probably yes. And I have some kind of 65 to 7% in profit, which is good. You know, I'm not just criticizing my own rules, but I think that when you say that if you follow this little webber or this ADX and this MACD, we got some kind of 85%. I just kind of ask myself, well, why and not just doing something much more simpler, as Jenny's saying? You know, why I'm just going sticking with a plan that is not that profitable or just not that.
Because most people can't follow this. Like they don't follow this. They think they're following rules.
Look how simpler is that chart that you are showing for us right now. It's absolutely simpler, isn't it? For me, it's just like a baby
Yes.
watching some chart. Is absolutely much more simpler, much more easy, much more profitable. So how would I stick in some indicators and plans and everything else? Just you know.
Okay, so ready. VP Morgan said something much better than me. I'm not known for being super wise and short-winded, but I'm really good with people, and they love me. So I'm gonna try to say what he said.
I love you, Jen.
I adore you guys. See, like I can't say this as well as he said, but just try to follow around what I'm saying. So he said something on the lines of, we test out this strategy. Like, for example, we test the strategy and we take a loss, we take a loss, we take a loss,
Okay.
a loss. And then now we have this big win. The odds are, like statistically speaking, if we had taken this loss, this loss, this loss, even if they were tiny losses, the odds that we even placed this 7th trade to get the big win, and this win would have wiped out 20 losses, right?
Right.
And he
right,
said
but
this in a way that's way, way better than my analogy. But he gave an analogy along these lines that says, like, if we take this trading system, can you keep using this trading system all
no.
And that's the
I was absolutely just dump it out on the second trade that I just got
and that's why you
stopped
never
out.
have a winning
That's the problem.
Yes. So again, he said it better. He just said it so perfect. But that's the whole concept. So take this and anything else I could teach you, or Pat, or anybody on this planet. Like, this is simple. I mean, the bigger the time frame, the bigger the profit, and the bigger the accuracy, but also bigger the stop loss. This is all real life, right? Because this system only uses the money tree string line and not the crossover, it does not use the 50 or the 35, for example, or the 8 and 18 even. This would be considered a faster entry system. So this is a perfect move. Let's skip this one because that's a no-brainer. Of course we won. Let's go to this one. I'm going to use my crosshairs. We can't guarantee we saw the chart right here. We can't guarantee we saw the chart anywhere, right?
No.
So we can just say, if we checked this chart somewhere in this vicinity, okay, I'm going to come over. I mean, anywhere could we have gotten a safe? And this is a really bad move. This is not a good one. Not good at all. But I'm trying to find stuff that's not good because we need to learn.
Just let me try to help you, because we have just daily dots on the support. So we just should be only looking for buy trades. But if you look at if we look to our MACD, there's very plain. So we are not going to be looking for any trades, right? So, but the movement just sometimes it just spikes, you know, and sometimes we're not just ready to catch that spikes. For instance, we don't have a purple arrow indicating that we're going to be on a down movement on the, how can I, it's difficult for me to watch that, because when the money string turns purple, there's no purple arrow. The purple arrow was very earlier. So should we trust this earlier purple arrow? Should we trust this early purple arrow, but waiting for the ADX confirmation and the money string confirmation and the daily dots confirmation? So it's a lot of confirmation that we have to wait for that to just making our trade and make a profitable trade, because you know, that's the difficulty that I have to understand the chart.
You don't sound, I'm sure it's frustrating, but you don't sound that different than I did. So like, all I wanted to do was talk through it and say, well, if this, then that statements. Like, I have those all the time. But all we can do is either A, you're going to follow a set of rules. And if you follow these rules, honestly, Rafa, here's the deal. You have to follow those rules when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it, when you're frustrated with your child, or when you got a flat tire. Your job is, if I am going to check the charts and I see this setup, I will take this setup no matter what, if it follows my rules, okay, every time.
The thing is,
no,
which one is right? Am
No.
I right or Jen is right? Absolutely. I trust you much more than I trust myself trading.
I know. I
That's
want
the
you to
thing.
trust you, though. Okay, like, and I appreciate that, and I love that. But I want you to trust you.
But Jenny, if you go back to that where your crosshairs is at right there, you shouldn't have entered that trade in the first place.
Why?
Because your MACD is, you don't have any volume whatsoever. So right there at that point, your MACD is basically telling you not to enter that trade.
Yeah, that's what as I was telling.
And ADX too. So, which I was going to get at, but I was trying to let him talk. He just was talking. And it's okay. I talk a lot. So honestly, my only goal would be able to say, okay, here's some rules. Your job is to follow them, which means, again, whether or not you feel like it, and whether or not, even if you lost 7 trades in a row, you have to follow these same rules for, let's say, 2 weeks to a month. Even if you lost 7 trades in a row, even if you're in your emotions and you're me, or even if you've had a good day or bad day, it means you're promising to check the charts once or twice a day. You will click through 28 pairs based off of whichever ones you agree to trade, based off of whatever time frame you agree to trade. If you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, this, I'm going to take this trade. If you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to take this trade. If it doesn't line up, I will not take this trade. That would be rule number 1. Rule number 2 is, once you're in profit, you're always going to protect that profit, right? Always, 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 which means sometimes you'll get stopped out. But at the end of 2 weeks to 4 weeks, you're going to find out this system and most systems are above 70%. The rest of the comes into poor management. It comes into broker manipulation, too tight of a stop loss. It comes into poor risk to reward, bad management. Most trading issues doesn't come from the system. But like the gentleman just said, Christopher, I believe, there was no volume here. And on top of which, we could not be buying here because our buyers were not in control. We couldn't buy here. So again, this is pretending like we have a life. So did this line up right here? Yes or no? No.
No.
And if we here
on the green arrow, no, but look at the purple arrow. It was down. The MACD was probably heading down. The ADX were above 25. They're probably indicating us we're going to be a huge drop, but not on that moment. So sometimes it is absolutely right. Sometimes, newbies could get a little bit confused about all of those indicators. That's what I was asking. Excuse me?
What time do you look at the chart each day?
Today? I'm sorry.
What time do you look at the chart each day?
What time? Well, I'm from Brazil, so I'm in well, you are Eastern time, so I am 1 or 2 hours ahead. So when London opens, it is 4 a.m. here in Brazil. So I wake up on 3:30, look at the charts, look for triple arrows on the 4 hours.
What
And
candle time is that, guys? Does anybody know what candle time that is? It's like, what time on the candle is it that you usually take a trade?
I don't look for a specific time candle, but I look for an opening market and look for the triple arrows.
You said London open?
Yeah, London opens on 4 a.m. in Brazil. I think it's 2 a.m. in the Eastern time in America. I don't know, 3 a.m., 2 a.m.
It's 3 a.m. for us. East Coast, 3 a.m.
3 a.m. So I look for setups starting on 3 a.m. for you. And if I have triple arrows on the 4 hours or starting triple arrows on a 1 hour, I just heads up. And if I have 2 or 3 confirmations on the 4 hour and a triple arrow on the 1 hour, I just jump in. That's my setup.
So you can add the big arrow. The big arrow will add accuracy to this, believe it or not. It will make
yes, I have the big arrow. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying for this strategy, you can add the big arrow for more accuracy. It will make it more accurate, just so you know. But for conversational purposes, again, ready? This
Okay,
is
I'm sorry.
And I could be wrong, but 10 a.m. is that breakout candle. So wait, that's 5 p.m. here. So it's 5 plus 2. This is 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
I could be wrong. So it's, if I'm a little off, please forgive me. But I'm pretty sure this is 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. 3 a.m. Yeah, exactly. I think you're absolutely right.
Let's assume that that's the case. But even if I'm not, let's just converse about this. Pick a pair. I don't want to pick it. You pick it. Pick a pair.
JBP Chiefs.
You got it. Okay.
I love this pair. I got a lot of stop losses on that.
So I'm
MF. Sorry.
There we go. I moved my magic mouse until I just clicked on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have to find somewhere where we actually do have some yellow dots though. So I'm going to come this way a little bit. Wow. Okay. So again, we can't count any, well, I'm sure we could, but I don't want to zoom out too much.
Okay.
So starting from this one, you check the chart at this time. Ugh. This is what you see. You have some volume, buyers are on control. We have a crossover. We have definite enough momentum. Our buyers are up. A money tracer line is green. Okay, do you buy on this candle, yes or no?
Oh my God.
Yes or no? Not enough rules, yes or no?
Of course, I'm seeing what is going to happen next, but I think I will buy. Sorry. I would have a strongly stop loss, but I would buy. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough. It's a little hard to show you, but we're going to figure it out together. So this was a pretty tiny candle. I can't say when you entered at the beginning. You look at it immediately.
Probably I would have some trailing stop, but I wouldn't have got all the pips that my initial analyze could make me,
Okay. So potentially if you had a trailing stop, you would have closed in profit. But again, we don't know where the daily dots were on that one. So we have to go to the next one. This one,
right.
Going off of what we see at the time.
All right. This one, I would have made some profits. Absolutely.
No, but
because of the daily dots. The crossing, MACD, the ADX pumping up, and the green candles, and everything else.
Okay, so you took this for a buy, you won, right?
This what I would.
Trade or no trade?
No trade, because the ADX was just pointing down, and I don't like the ADX pointing down.
Minimal volume.
Yeah. A purple. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so what about this one?
Well, no, not as well, because well, the movement was just some kind of, I don't know, but some kind of a slippage or something like that. No, I don't like to,
No.
Jenny, I don't like to enter the first hour.
Look, yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're doing this all wrong. You wouldn't have known that. You wouldn't have known that candle, because if you're looking at the chart at 3 a.m., you're looking at the last closed candle, which was 2 a.m.
Oh, okay, right.
So on this
That's
one, you
better.
wouldn't have seen this candle yet.
Okay,
On
that's
this one,
better.
you wouldn't have seen this candle. So you wouldn't have seen any of that. So again, would you have taken this? What does it have enough of your rules met? Yes or no? Pretending like you can't see anything over there. You're coming to the chart at 3 a.m. It's decision time. This should take you less than 15 minutes. You're clicking through 28 pairs. Take it or leave it, yes or no?
No, I wouldn't.
Next. Wow, silly
I
man.
wouldn't.
Okay, do we take, I'm sorry.
Just one from this test.
Father, Lord. Okay, well, I would love to not play with my magic mouse for like an hour, but do you take, please stay still, this one? Yes or no?
No, absolutely not. The ADX is just pointing down. The MACD is just flat. There's no recent arrow. No, I'm just letting it go.
Okay, you would have won if you did.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. That's what I'm asking for help.
So
I'm doing something wrong. That's clearly.
1, 2, momentum is high enough. In the moment you saw this, okay, this, you would have been looking right around somewhere in this candle. You have minutes to make the decision, not hours. If this is the time we're going to backtest, this is how we trade. Our momentum was higher, sellers were in control. We're below the 50 line in terms of
there's no volume, Jenny.
Wait, you're right, there is no volume, but you're with the trend. So you need volume when you're changing a trend. I don't mind as much on the no volume if I'm below, if I'm
okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's
lesson learned, absolutely.
Learning tools, right?
Even with the ADX just pointing down?
The ADX, again, wouldn't have been pointing down at that time. So the ADX would have probably been pointing, the ADX would have been above 25 at that moment, yes or no?
Yeah, but they're saying, well, this trend is just about to get over, this just about to end. So if it's just end of the party,
If you had come to the chart at 3 a.m. somewhere in this millisecond/60 60-minute time frame, what you would see is this big engulfing candle. You'd see that we made a lower low.
No, I would say absolutely that the trend was going to down. Absolutely.
Okay, you would see that the ADX is saying sell. You see that we're still on the seller side, even though we're missing the volume.
Yes.
See that, right?
But it was just not enough clear to me to trade that. I would just look for another pair.
Okay, and again, there's 28 pairs. We don't need to catch these every day. We definitely don't need to catch these every day.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
On this one right here, do you take this trade? Yay or nay?
No, no, I don't think so.
I find the daily dots, so this isn't working the way I wanted to.
Yeah, the daily dots has just vanished. I don't know where that is.
We'd have to test this with the 4 hour, but it's the similar thing. When you understand that this crossover counts as one indicator, the break of the 0 line counts as 2
indicators. Okay.
You want the volume, especially if you're doing a reversal. You want the volume. If you're in a continuation, that's not nearly as important. So like right here, not nearly as important because you're going up, you're below the 0. That counts. Okay.
Right.
You want the volume above the 25, and the buyers or sellers, depending on what you're looking to do, in control. You want the money tree line green if you're buying, purple if you're selling, and you want the most recent little arrow saying the direction you want to go. That's it.
Okay.
You can use that in combination with the break of a trend line. You can use that in combination with so many things. I mean, the more you learn, the more you'll earn, essentially. But you have an engulfing candle, which you wouldn't have had yet. So you have to decide within minutes of what you decide you see. And if you go back and test this, it's a lot harder to do to test on the daily at least for the 1 hour specifically using this tool. So that's why we're having a hard time to do it. But it tests very, very well.
Yeah,
So,
you're absolutely right. Just came back to this engulfing candle. Look at that. It's a big engulfing candle, but it's followed by 4 candles that are saying to me, is this thing is going to be down. I have to trust my system so badly that it's not gonna be stop it out, to just trust that and keep my system to just keep my profits on the next candle. So it's very difficult to keep your mindset okay, to just trust your system, look for all of these down candles and trust this engulfing candle saying that this trend is going to go up. So you are absolutely right. The system is absolutely right. But my question is, how should I be confident about this system that it is going to be up to my take profits, or my 50 profits, 50 bip profits, to trust that it's going to be on profit? Because it's very hard to trust the system when we see an engulfing candle and 4 candles down. For then we're going to see an up movement.
Can I answer that?
yes.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, just from what Pat's taught us in the other classes, when we get that engulfing candle, he always talks about when we're going in an uptrend about a slant pattern. And so I would have expected the pullback and been ready for it to continue upward. So, I mean, that's kind of, I kind of would have expected a slight pullback. And as a matter of fact, Jenny, you've mentioned the same before, as far as it coming back and retesting 60% or so, and then going back and going back up. So I would have expected that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But my question is, it's difficult for us to trust that, not just hit our stop loss and prevent some bigger loss,
Oh, absolutely.
Because it came from a purple arrow. Look at the left. It came from a purple arrow. So how or when should I be ready to get on this trade? On this green arrow or after the engulfing candle? Sometimes I got confused. I don't know if I'm right. I'm a newbie. That's why,
Okay.
That makes sense. I guess I was just talking from the candle perspective, as far as your indicators.
And you are absolutely right. Thank you for you.
Yeah, sure. I would have. I probably would have waited on that one.
Jenny?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's somebody speaking up.
Yeah, Jenny, Cornelia here. What I need to say is, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was in gold, and immediately I went into the trade went against me. But I know the system is right, and I don't have to allow my emotions to take the best of me. And I let the trade go, and I ended up making 5.8%. You have to trust the system. You have to put your emotions at bay, because your emotions will come in very strong. But you have to tell yourself at the beginning of the day, this is what I'm going to do, and stick with it regardless of what the market is doing. Just stick with what you know, and you will win. And if it's a loss, so what? You just have to go. If not, you can never trade, because the emotions are going to be fighting you each time. You say, well, right, this is right. You have to get control of your emotions, and then you just trade like a robot. That's it.
My friend used to tell me, the dumbest you are, the best you trade. It's something like that.
There's a lot of books, there's a lot of evidence that teach you that, and I hope nobody gets offended by this, but I'm into all that self-help stuff. I'm into all those books and stuff. And the more I've learned, the more I've realized that people who are, borderline mentally handicapped, the people who are less book smart and intelligent, to say it directly, tend to do better in business. They tend to do better at stuff like this.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Jenny.
Because
And I came from a media perspective. I'm a TV host. I'm a sport commentator, and I used to interview a lot of people, a lot of handicap people, you know, of the Special Olympics and something like that. And you're absolutely right. That's how these things works. So we need to learn how that mind works, how that mind thinks. You know, it's incredible, but you are absolutely right.
Yeah. But thank you. Okay, guys. Well, that's about enough. John is like, no, it's okay, but thank you guys. Let's all be super loving and gentle. And I really loved everyone kind of stepping up. The point is, all we really wanted to go over tonight is that we can create a system based off of what your eyes see. And the whole concept is to follow this for 2 to 4 weeks. And if you can do that robotic, like Cornelia, I believe, said, or I'm pretty sure it was Cornelia, seriously,
Yeah.
if that's all it's going to take, and leave your emotions out of it, quit thinking, quit feeling, quit. But Jenny, is this going to turn around? I don't know. And to be honest, I really don't care. Like, I have a systematic approach. I will win some, I will lose some, I will make money at the end of this month. I will have bad days, and I'll have times where I made a mistake, but systematically speaking, I know my systems and all of my many accounts to know we got this. Like, it's not hard, but it does take, I will follow these rules no matter what, no matter if I take too many losses in a row. I told myself I was going to test this for 10, you know, for however much you need. Supposedly you need like 50 trades or something like that, or at least 4 weeks to test the different market conditions. And since most of us aren't going to hit 50 trades, we definitely want to hit 4 weeks. I've been telling people 2 weeks because it will still work. But follow anything for that long. And you're going to say, I have like 80%. I have like 70%. That's the first time I hit 90%. Like, it's going to be a beautiful experience for you. So, but guys, it's about time. I'm going to actually check on my munchkins. I'm sure my youngest one is done reading. I'm hoping. He does need to go to bed for school. He's been having that moment where he stays up way too late, but that's little boys for you. So,
hi, Jenny. Where can I find the settings for the MACD?
This is the MACD True. It's in the group. It's my version that I gave to the group.
Okay.
And it's the same one as, the only reason I like it is because it's the same as TradingView. It's the real one. So.
Okay, and the settings are already pre-loaded.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, guys, any other questions? Somebody asked about the money tree string line. Don't trust your emotions. I love the slam pattern. Uncle Pat talks about that whole engulfing candle I taught Pat about, just so you guys know. No, but I learned from IML. That's where I got that from. And everything else, like, please write that stuff down. Let's talk about that in our next class, because it's way better to have you guys talking and sharing. It makes it way fun. So, but I hope you guys have a fantastic night, and I'm going to get off.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Thanks for your time, thanks for your wisdom. Sorry if I'm just speaking a lot. Sorry for all the members. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jenny.
All right, thank you.
Guys, have a great night.
Thank you, Jenny.
Jenny.
Thank you.
Night, Barbara. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.